Morning folks, how are we doing? Thursday morning. So today we're looking at day 13, and day 13 is all about taking responsibility for all of your actions. So one of your small wins that you can take into 2019 is learning to accept that every decision that you make, every procrastination that you come up with or excuse to stop you moving forwards is your responsibility. Just before we do that, tomorrow is our last day for our training to join us for 4 months for the price of 3, even with the discount on top of that as well, knocking £134 off it, the price. Come and join us, get ready pre-Christmas so that you are super ready post-Christmas, all right? If you're listening on podcast, please do leave a review, or watching on Facebook, please do share. So, when I was in, I'll never forget when I was in training in the Marines, and we were doing our weaping kit. Well, we're doing like a kit muster in the field. So we'd be in the field, and we'd be doing field skills, soldiering skills, basic skills, and at the very end of those skills, we would have to do a kit muster. Now, a kit muster is fucking horrible. They put you under pressure, like you're tired, fatigued, feel sorry for yourself a bit, and you've got to pack all your kit up, and you've got to take it all the way up out front of the training team's tent. And it could be pissing down, rain, and I mean really pissing down, your hands are freezing. You've got to get all your kit out and show that you've waterproofed it all, lay it out all neatly, make sure there's no rust on your bayonet, make sure that you've eaten, and you just kind of show the training team that you've managed yourself over that period of time during the day and still managed to organise all your shit in your Bergen. But the biggest thing was our weapon, was the SA-80. Now, we had to make sure this was fucking priority. Number one thing. If there was even like a speck of like rust anywhere from where it had been raining all night, you were in up shit creek. So you had to make sure you were responsible for that weapon. You were responsible for making sure that it was as clean as it physically can be, that it was ready for inspection, that when we were on our kit muster, we were ready to go with a clean weapon. And the consequences were ugly, because if you didn't take responsibility for that weapon and make sure that it was clean, morning David, morning Andy, you were getting fucked up on the flank. And if you go on a flank, you can expect half an hour of just disgusting exercise, fizz, rolling around in mud, and that meant that you were stuck all day, freezing, soaking wet, okay, muddy in the field. So you like the weapon was insane. You had to make sure that the weapon, morning Russell, you had to make sure that your weapon was clean, and that was my responsibility. That wasn't anyone else's responsibility. I couldn't blame anyone else if it went wrong. Lucky enough, it never did go wrong, and they got flanked. Never got flanked. But it was my responsibility. It was my detail. It was down to me to make sure that my kit muster, that my rifle, that everything was in good shape, ready for my kit muster. I couldn't blame anybody else. So when it comes to me doing my 100 miler in 2016, all right, I was ill prepared when I run. And there were 2 reasons. There were 3 reasons. Number 1, we were having Alba. Alba was born in April. I was running in June. So I couldn't go too far running. I had to do loops and stuff, because if Jemima suddenly needed to get to hospital, I needed to be on standby to get home. And I used to run around with the local taxi number on Fastdial on my phone with 20 quid in my pocket. Okay, so I couldn't go too far. I couldn't run out too far. I literally had to do these loops. They were mind-bogglingly fucking boring. The other thing is that I was writing my book, It's a State of Mind, which is out now. So a lot of my time was like trying to get this book done. I was trying to push that. I was trying to get things going on. The third thing is that I used those 2 things as my excuse. Okay? I used those 2 things as my excuse, and I didn't utilise my time properly. I wasn't focused enough on the task at hand. And I suffered on my run. When I got to 60 miles, I've never quit at anything in my life, but I've never been so close as to quitting that 100-mile race. Okay? And, geez, I remember sitting there thinking, I don't know how I'm going to do another 40 miles. And then there was a great guy called Steve come along. He picked me up, got me up the hill, got me going. and I cracked on, and then managed to finish with a group. But that was my responsibility. It was my responsibility that I wasn't prepared enough, that I wasn't trained enough, that I wasn't strong enough, that I almost didn't complete it. And it was no one else's responsibility, just mine. Now, when we look at your fitness, the way that you look right now, okay, is your responsibility. Okay, no one else's. Now, I can give you all of the tools that you need. You can come into the Brotherhood. We give you some great gym workouts, great home workouts. I'll give you a good level of accountability. You'll get a call a month with me, okay, to talk about stuff if you're struggling, all right? There is other guys and other brothers in there. There's about 100 guys in there, 80 to 100 guys, something like that, who are on the same journey as you. You can surround yourself with positive people, put yourself in the environment. But what you can't do is blame anyone else when you don't show up. All right, so for 2019, a small win is to show up and implement and be sustained and hold yourself accountable and sustain your routine and your pattern. Just like me and the rifle, just like me and failing, well, I completed 100 miler, but failing to run it comfortably were my responsibilities. They were my responsibilities. They weren't Johnny's, they weren't Sammy's, Joe Blogs. I can't look to blame anybody else. I can't look to blame any other factors. So I think as we go into 2019, what we need to do is make sure that we are accountable. Bar anything, any illnesses or any sort of deaths in the family that restrict you from living a normal life at the time, you have to accept that where you are right now is because you put yourself there, because of your actions, your state of mind, because you allowed yourself to get to that position. And that's sometimes really hard to hear. You can be like, fuck you. But it's true. And it might trigger you at first, but if you listen to this again tomorrow, it might sink in a little bit more. You might listen to it in 3 days' time, and you might sink in and go, he's right. Consistent lack of action would lead to unhappiness. Would lead to unhappiness. If I put no effort into my business, I'd have no one in the Brotherhood. No one would trust me. It's my responsibility to make sure I build up my business how I want to build it up, to make sure that I'm looking after my family, just like it is for you to run your business, whatever it is that you do to make sure that your family's secure. It just happens that I have a massive passion about my job because I've been there. I know exactly what a lot of guys go through. So I use that passion and drive to bring people to a new level of fitness. My responsibility. The guys in the Brotherhood are my responsibility to make sure that they are driving and moving in the right place. If someone leaves the Brotherhood, I take responsibility for that because somehow the process hasn't worked for them. For some reason, somehow, they've got lost in translation somewhere. So that's my responsibility. It's not Louisa's, it's not Johnny Briggs, it's not somebody else's in a group, it's mine. And I think that's what we have to do. We have to learn to take responsibility. So, moving forward, summary, 2019, small wins. Learn to accept that where you are is where you are because of the choices that you've made or the lack of choices that you've made. And that now is time to take responsibility for your actions so that you don't make the excuses, that you don't procrastinate, and that you do move forwards to a higher level of living so that you're happy. We're looking for happiness, right? That's what we're looking for. Happiness, purpose, fulfillment, all those good things is what we're looking for. And only you can achieve them. So thanks for listening. I hope that was good for you. Tomorrow, we'll go straight in, day 14. I hope you have a great Thursday. Please remember to leave a review on the podcast if you're listening on podcast, or share on this if you're listening on Facebook. Remember, our offer for 4 months for the price of 3 ends tomorrow. It's finished forever. I'm going to go and find these dogs now. Have a great day. Love you all. Ta-da.